It's progress, my son. Nothing to do with you or them.
Sir! I swear! I've got many more miles still in me! Dad, we don't need to do this!
It's the cycle of life. From the smelter's furnaces we came, to the smelter's furnaces we return.
It's a shame. It's a real crying shame.
Son, I told you many years ago, never get too friendly with locomotives. Never let the bottom of your heart interfere with the bottom line. Bottom line. Bottom line. Bottom line. Bottom line.
Ah!
Not again.
I need to get a couch in here. Yes, Miss Young?
Mr. Kaufman, Chuck and Jack to see you, sir.
Ah! Send them in.
Hello, Brad.
Hiya, Lawrence. Ah, Jack, Chuck, good to see you. How's our railroad been treating you?
Just fine, Mr. Duncan. We learned a great deal about this railroad's beginnings.
How's the railroad treating you, Mr. Duncan?
Oh, like any other business treats its CEO. Respectfully, yes. But it comes at you from so many different angles at once that it's really a balancing act at times.
Like roller skating on top of a collapsing circus tent.
What?
Mr. Coffin, you worry me some days.
Of that I have no doubt. Anyhow, I filled these gentlemen in on the early days of our railroad. Now they are wondering why we kept steam locomotives so long.
Well, you've come to the right place. My father, Mr. Greg Duncan, is the one responsible for all that, after all.
Your father?
Why, yes. He was the CEO during the, so-called transition era. Well, he was just taking over from my grandfather from being CEO, actually.
Executive positions kept in the family. Now that could be taken the wrong way.
Well, you see, we still have our original stock share from the time of my great-great-grandfather, and because it's the majority, my family has always kept a tight rein on the railroad. It's sort of the family dynasty. Aside from our odd choice of motive power, most people agree that we've done a good job.
Makes sense.
We're a little off track, though. As I said, my dad was most directly responsible for holding on to the steam locomotives. He took over from my grandfather, Mr. Ferris Duncan, in 1952. My dad was pretty young at the time, as was I when I took over. Now, out of all the advice my grandfather gave my dad, there was one thing he tried his best to drill home.
Son, you need to remember, you are the boss now. It is not your place to be everybody's friend.
I know, Dad.
I don't think you do. You've been getting a little too friendly with the locomotives. You can't be doing that, Greg. If the time comes to let one of these things go, they go.
And what's wrong with getting up close and personal with these machines?
One of these days, you'll have to ride a locomotive off for scrap. We've had several locomotives around here that are coming to the end of their useful lives.
So what?
I have a sneaking suspicion that should the need arise to let a locomotive go, you will be too emotionally involved to do what's right for the company.
Come on, Dad. You know me better than that.
I do know you. That's why I'm worried about it.
Well, don't worry about it. I'm more than capable of running this railroad.
Well, if you can handle the number 7 on a commuter train, probably won't be that much of a leap for you.
Yeah, Bradley and I get along really well. My dad took over as head of the railroad's operations not long after that. However, a couple years after my granddad's warning, it was quickly lost on him. At one time, we had 3 locomotives switching Denver yards simultaneously, just to keep the older ones busy.
Okay, set this one on 3, get the other ones off 2. Ouch! What the? This track is supposed to be almost empty. How in the...
Where's that car going?
Wolfram.
Well, it don't go there, it goes on the 12 track.
We don't have a track 12.
Well, we did yesterday, I think. Just, that ain't where that car goes.
Benji? What are you doing?
I'm getting the local ready for the Admiral line. What does it look like I'm doing?
Have you lost your mind? We haven't run a train up there in 15 years!
Then what are all these empty gondolas doing here?
I don't know, check the waybills.
Hey, you left us in the wrong spot again.
Well, fine. If you know where it goes, put it there.
Jeez! There sure seems to be a lot of bad blood around here lately. Okay, who did this? Things kept up like that for quite some time. My dad eventually realized that what my grandfather had told him was true. Eventually, for the good of the railroad, some of the older locomotives would have to be retired. After many hours of consideration on the matter, Dad finally made up his mind. He took a walk down to the Denver roundhouse one evening in 1955. He was going down there to tell the older locomotives that the time had come for them to go. However, the locomotives all had something else on their minds at that evening. I just don't know if our cheapwad president would greenlight a rescue attempt.
Who's a cheapwad president?
Good evening, sir. How long have you been there?
Long enough to know something's on your minds. Come on, let's hear it.
Nothing at all.
Really?
No, not really. You know that DNRG 280 that usually brought the interchange freight in here? I forget his number. Vaguely, he's being sold for scrap.
That's unfortunate. Actually, I came down here to talk to you all about something else along those lines.
Sir, we're going in after him.
What? Have you all lost it?
No, sir.
Sure sounds like it.
That is a matter of the Brotherhood of Steam.
The what?
Home road or wheel arrangement or builder notwithstanding, we as steam locomotives share a common bond deep within our frames. When push comes to shove, we look out for one another without exception. This is the Brotherhood of Steam.
Well, that's handy to know.
Like Isaac said, we're going in after him.
Doesn't sound like I'm gonna talk you all out of it.
Nope. Best you not even try.
Well, maybe we can do this somewhat more legally.
My dad got two of the locomotives coupled back to back, and they headed out to the scrapyard where this 280 was said to be.
Looks like we just bought a mangled gate. Let me just have a quick word with the man on duty. Maybe I can still talk him into selling that locomotive.
Right, let's go get him. The scrap dealer said okay? Not exactly.
What?
No one's in the building. I left a good-sized check and a note asking not to sue on the biggest desk I could find in there. Now we can get what we came for and get out of here, huh? Sure thing. I think Casey said the locomotive was behind a pile of automobiles. That can't be. I mean, I knew they were disposed of by scrapping, but not like this. This. No machine deserves this. I can't.
Duncan, get on! You're about to miss your own train.
Huh? Oh! Once my dad got back to his office, what he had seen had weighed really heavy on his mind. Dad had quite a predicament on his hands. Several of the other older locomotives were causing problems, but he didn't want to send them off to be torn apart for scrap. Years prior, he would have found a short-line railroad that could have used them, but there was an industry-wide trend towards dieselization going around the railroads. No one was buying steam locomotives anymore. One afternoon, a report came from the chief mechanical officer that caught his eye. We are in need of newer and more powerful locomotives.
Okay, George, you're ready to roll. The yardmaster says you can take the cars of track 3 out to Denver for a break-in. There's one freight due in. Once they pull in, you're cleared to depart. And, just to warn you, we've gotten a few new faces on the roster since you came in for those class repairs.
Noted. Thanks. Whoa, ain't seen you before. I'm George. And you?
My name's Andre. I hail from the Fenzi. L1V Class 482.
Hi there. I'm Wayne, out of Buffalo.
I'm George, out of Wolfram. Yeah, who are you?
I'm Truman, from the St. Louis Southwestern. Pond Bluff, to be specific.
And him?
Mo. Hey, Mo. Mo!
What? I was awake. I was totally, what's up? What do you want? What? Oh, hey, new person. Who are you? Wait, how long you been sitting there?
I'm dead. I'm wrecked. I must have. I'm in heaven, or is this the other place? I'm in the Twilight Zone. It's a menagerie. It's a madhouse. I'm giving her all she's got, Captain. Make my day, punk. If we push her any harder, the whole thing's gonna blow.
Okay, then.
That was one of the first times in the railroad's history where we found it necessary to consult a psychiatrist to straighten out a locomotive.
Dad had gone on quite the buying spree, saving whatever steam locomotives he could from the cutting torch. This came as a shock to the locomotives that had been here for years. What with all the new faces showing up all sudden like.
So, what happened to the older locomotives?
Have either of you two ever been to the Trinidad Museum of Living History?
No.
I have.
Wait, when were you there?
My dad took me when I was a kid.
It's a great place, even if I do say my biased self. That place was my dad's solution to scrapping the older locomotives. So, you all know why I brought you here, right?
You're putting us out to pasture?
Yep. Wait, no! For the love of...
You're dumping us in the outhouse?
No! What makes you think... Never mind. You're here because...
Benjamin fits in an outhouse. I've seen him once. Twice. Nope, wait. There's 6 times.
Are you all finished? Good. Now, I've had you all brought here because you will all be stars in the new enterprise I'm creating.
What is it?
I call it the Trinidad Museum of Living History. Sounds catchy, don't it?
So we're being turned into, taxidermy owls.
No, you're not.
Maybe it would save some time, Mr. Duncan, if we were told what was going to happen to us.
This new museum will tell the story of our railroad and the surrounding area. You all will be on display, talking with visitors about your experiences.
So once we're in there, we ain't ever turning a wheel again?
No! We'll fire you up from time to time for special events.
In other words, we just sit around and tell people stories?
Just about.
Well, I think I know of some, good ones.
Oh, no.
What's wrong, Jingle?
You'll see in a moment.
I could tell them about the outhouses I've burned down. Or about the horse I cut into 3 pieces. Or how about the time my engineer went out on the town and came back with 2 lovely ladies from the saloon. I think they spent the whole evening...
No! Not stories like that!
Then what kind of stories should I, tell?
How about you just run them by me, and I'll tell you whether you can tell them or not. Once the older locomotives understood what was expected of them, they settled down quite happily into their new surroundings. They're still there, and they're still a delight to hundreds, no, thousands of visitors every year. Anyhow, that's how we became the railroad that never gave up on steam.
Maybe we ought to go down to that museum tomorrow, Jack. Have a little chat with, the artifacts.
Yeah, don't call them artifacts. They hate that. But sure, you could. Actually, you can chat with any of our locomotives. Everyone and everything around here has a story to tell. Lawrence could point you towards the ones with the more interesting stories, too.
I certainly can.
Chuck and I need to get back to the studio for today, but we'll give you a call to get some leads tomorrow morning.
I shall await the call with bated breath.
Okay. Thank you for your time, gentlemen. We'll be in touch.
You're very welcome, my friends. Come back anytime.